Welcome to the September 13th, 2022 Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for the City of Fayetteville, Tennessee. I'm going to ask one of our students, Norm McCormick, to come up and give the opening prayer. I will then come down and we have some student ambassadors from Ralph Askins that are going to come up here and help say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll get into our agenda. So if you'd stand, please.
And give them wisdom in their choices. Thank you for everything you do for us. Amen.
Amen. So if y'all turn around, face the flag, and help lead us in our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank each of you for that. Lord, you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, proposals to this agenda tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a proposal on a change under new business number B. Bridge replacement and paving on Fayetteville Highway. I would like to ask for the paving to stay in, the bridge replacement be taken out, because there's more than likely, there's a good chance there's going to be an issue with that. It's been brought to our attention that it could be by replacing that bridge. Now the bridge, there's not anything wrong with the bridge other than just being old. I mean, it's safe and everything, but we had thought about what time was paving, maybe going ahead and replacing it at the same time. But time-wise, there's a good chance at the time that bridge got through being replaced, the hot mix plants very well could be shut down, and we would be left with a situation where we'd have a replaced bridge and none of the paving get done. At a later date, if the board were to decide at a later date, there's not any problem with going in and replacing the bridge after the paving's done. We've done 3 of them already in the city. Replaced bridges with existing paving there, and everything works fine because of the way they fix the entrance is to them. So I think with the questions that could come up about creating an issue with that whole project, I think we should take the bridge part out, do the paving, at least put the paving out for bid, and deal with a bridge replacement at a later date. And I would put that in the form of a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
All right.
All right. Any other changes?
There is under new business, I've got something as well. And I hope I got the right letter written down. I can't see, and excuse me guys, I'm not trying to squint my eyes out. My eyes are dilated. But anyway, under F, I hope that's right, under animal control, correct? I would like to postpone that for next month's meeting to give us an opportunity, because Thursday of the workshop meeting of last week, we were given a paper that morning and told to refresh our iPads. I don't think it's fair for them or us or the county. I think we need 1 more month to get to regroup and get the Humane Society and the animal shelter. We can all be of agreements, because right now, I mean, I've looked through it over the weekend, but there's a lot of it in there if you've read through, and I'd like to see it move to next month's meeting, to another month to look at this and all parties get together.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Alderman Hartman. Any discussion?
Well, this has been going on. This has been going on for quite a while now. I would think it, the Humane Society, I don't know how to speak for them, but I would think that they might want this resolved to where we can move on and get back into animal control business like we have been before. The agreement was given to us. We've got it all. I mean, it's in writing and all. I don't know that we need to kick this down the road. Right?
Well, all due respect with you, no, sir, and they are aware of the situation. They're aware of me speaking out on it for them today and helping them through this process. They don't want this agreement. It's not, and they were not given it. They were given Wednesday night on an email, and when they clicked it, it was too late because they were asked to come to the meeting Thursday morning, and they were not having an opportunity to speak. So I think they're aware of what I said and about postponing. I think they're in agreement with me and getting together with all three organizations again and getting a better hand on it, because if we lose animal control in Humane Society, I think it was once said in a meeting, it's going to be on the police department. We're shorthanded. B, we don't have the vehicles, so we're going to be spending more money on vehicles. I just think we all need to get to a group again and do maybe a workshop, shop session. We can all come to agreements with the county or some representatives from each department and let them speak as well in the next meeting.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, could you have someone that represents the animal control to express their opinion on this, please?
Sure. Yeah.
Is Ms. Cott here?
Good evening. Thank you for discussing this again. I have been through so many different versions of this. Hang on, I don't think I got the right.
I mean, I don't want her to go through a lot of, I just want to know how they want us to act on this tonight. That's all, Cindy.
Mhm,
I don't want a
understand.
big drawn out thing. I just want
Right.
to know what animal control would like for us to do tonight. If
Okay.
animal control want us to put this off, postpone it or to vote on it tonight.
Right.
That's all I want to know.
Okay. We've been discussing this. I think Mayor Wizened and Kevin, when Kevin first came out in March, they visited the shelter. So we've been discussing this for quite a while. I have July 26th. These are the first discussion points that we talked about in our meetings. July 18th, there are also more discussion points. Here's one. The second round are things that we had talked about in meetings with Kevin and with the mayor of the county mayor and the city mayor and Mr. Hill and two of our board members. The last one we got was this one, which is nothing like what he had discussed. None of these points are in this contract. This was something that I think was pulled from 4 or 5 years ago. Mr. Hill, did you prepare this? So this was from our contract from 4 or 5 years ago?
I took the 5-year-old contract as a kind of a starting point. And made
Okay. So all the discussion points that were done in the past months were not included. Is that correct?
I made the changes I was asked to make to it.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Mr. Owens?
If I may add, all of the discussion points with the exception of the medical bills and the ARPA money was not. The ARPA money would have to be a separate agreement with the county. We cannot make a decision on their funds. But this was for basic operations. But everything else should be consistent.
Well, we had information about vaccines, that we would split vaccines. We talked about the some of the costs for the city and the county to take up as far as our electric and water and that sort of thing. That's not in there. We had discussed a vehicle. We had discussed helping us out with insurance for the vehicle that was the animal control vehicle. So none of those things were in this at all. This is what we took this to Pat Fraley, and this is what she came back with. So none of these were discussed. It was given back to Mr. Hill yesterday. So I don't know if anything has been done with that since yesterday. Because again, we were presented with it about the same time y'all were on Thursday. And none of this was in these original platforms. And I can email those all to you if you like.
So overall, you're okay with me pushing it?
Yes,
for another
most
month?
definitely.
Yeah, and I know y'all are struggling with money, but you're okay with us pushing it
Yes,
to next month?
because we would not approve this. So there's also things that, we had talked about dissolution of assets. We met with, going back in time, the city of Fayetteville saying we need to evacuate the building by August 13th. So I'm just looking back at another round of negotiations. So what we have asked for in the past is to have a committee put together, an ad hoc committee or whatever we need to do with the city and the county, and 2 of y'all, 2 county, 2 of the Humane Society, and get something put together as a group and not just going back and forth for the last 3 months, because we're getting nowhere. We feel like we just lost about 3 months of time.
If I may ask, what date was the letter written from the animal shelter that you said you would no longer do animal control? What was that?
I think that was June 1st.
June 1st?
Mm-hmm. Right. But as we had discussed with our March, when we gave our information in March, and we stated explicitly that we could no longer afford to do what we're doing based on the funding we're receiving, and we would we would be a humane society, and that the city and the county would be taking over animal control. That was in that funding letter that y'all all should have had. And we attached.
We've given all that information to the
Right.
board.
We attached our 990, we attached the TCA stating that any animal that leaves our shelter has to be spayed or neutered by law. And that's a state law. So if you're a government entity, a private, a nonprofit, your animals have to be spayed and neutered, and that's a big expense for us. And it's gotten more expensive over time. Everything has gotten more expensive over time. Do y'all have any more questions?
Any other questions of Ms. Kite? Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Allen?
No.
Ms. Small?
Abstain?
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Are we voting to push
Oh.
this to next month? Yes.
Mr. Martinez? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
All right, that's 4 ayes.
I would like to change my vote.
Okay.
I vote yes.
All right, that item passed. All right. We'll go forward with the agenda we have in place, minus that one change on B, and moving F off, and everything else to move up. Thank you, Ms. Kite. We'll go forward. I have an oath of office for 2 firemen. They'll come forward, Mr. Chad Baker and Mr. Dustin Smith. You'll turn around and face the camera. Raise your right hand. I say your names. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and that of the state of Tennessee. That I will obey the laws and ordinances of the city of Fayetteville. That I will protect the life and property of its citizens. That I will familiarize myself with and be obedient to the rules and regulations. Will faithfully serve the city of Fayetteville in the discharge of my duties as a member of the Fayetteville Fire Department to the best of my knowledge and ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Welcome. Thanks, sir. I'm sure. Also on the agenda, you have the minutes from August 9th, 2022. Does anybody have any additions, deletions, subtractions? Not, we'll put those into record. Next, we'll go to our reports from the Fayetteville Lincoln County Library. We have Miss Megan Murr.
Good evening. Just a few updates from the library. During the month of August, we had 2,275 patrons that visited, and they checked out a total of 2,708 materials. We were able to offer 20 programs, and we had 477 persons attend. We would like to extend a huge thank you to everyone that was involved in our Touch a Truck event in August. We had over 300 people that came out to that event. And we couldn't have done it without the City of Fayetteville Police and Fire Departments, the Fayetteville Public Utilities, Wrights Paving, the Lincoln Health System, and Paul Armstrong. They all brought out different vehicles, and they took time to share with our youth what they do for our community as service providers. So we're extremely thankful for that. In addition to our ongoing clubs and programs, we've been excited to launch 2 new ones. We have a Lego club and a STEM club. This month we started our STEM club, and patrons got to build a catapult and then launch marshmallows with it. So they were super excited to use some engineering, science, and math skills there for that project. Many of you may have noticed that we have a new project ongoing at the library. Contrary to popular belief, they are not solar panels. We received a grant from the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation to install a story walk. And so we've got the signs up at the library, and we're looking forward to rotating stories out in those sign panels, and that way we can have an interactive storytime experience that combines literacy with physical activity as well. And that's really all that I have, just to say that keep an eye out on programs. We're busy planning some fun things for the fall at the library. We have some author visits coming up soon. We are going to be involved with the Host of Christmas Fast this year, which we're excited about, and just lots of other fun things going on. So definitely keep an eye out for those programs.
Any questions? Well, thank you for everything you do. We know there's a lot of activities that benefit our children and adults. I know your computer usage is quite high for so.
Thank you.
And the grounds, it looks good. You've kept it looking good through the
you.
summertime. It looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we go to the Fayetteville City School System, Mr. Hopkins.
Good afternoon. I'm going to try to make this typical Bill Hopkins, short and sweet. That's difficult. Tough crowd. We have a lot of great things going on. First of all, wasn't that a great job by our ambassadors at Ralph Askins? That's something that we've added, and I thought that was a great addition. They were able to tour our state education commissioner. She came in, and they basically gave the whole tour. We turned it completely over to the students, and I thought they did a great job. We have a few people here tonight that I want to recognize. I like to bring guests with me, and I want to be able to let them talk a little bit. The first group is our SROs, and we are thankful for our partnership with the city and what y'all do for us to help there. But we're very blessed here in the city of Fayetteville to have an SRO in all 3 schools, not just campuses, but all 3 schools. And I dare say that's rare. So at this time, I'd like for Officer Scotty Vaughn, James Owen, and Drew Ivey to come up here to the front, please. Give him a round of applause. Officer Scotty is at our high school, and you've been there how long?
This is my 5th year.
5th year. Officer Owens at the middle school, and how long you been there?
3 years.
3 years. And Officer Ivy, how long you been there?
A month and 5 days.
See, that's where we go. It's elementary, middle, and high. Don't let their looks fool you. That's where they are. I did ask for Officer Ivy to say a few things because they've added a few little things at Ralph Askins that I thought were beneficial. So Officer Ivy, if you would come over here and talk. I was going to let them talk, but they refused to shake their heads. So that's
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say I'm blessed to be at Ralph Askins. I got amazing administration, Miss Whiteneck, Mr. Bobbitt. They're amazing with the kids. Amazing. We've added a couple of things this year. We've started our student safety patrol. In the morning, we take some of our 4th and 5th graders. They can stand outside. They're wearing their reflective vests. They're greeting the kids in the morning. They're telling them have a great day, making sure they cross safely, all that stuff. We have our student ambassadors, which are our 5th grade. They are the top of the behavior, top of the academics, just our leaders of the school. Pretty much what they do is showing the younger kids what they strive to be. So it's a good thing. We got a group coming that's going to be starting. It's the Distinguished Tigers Club. That's going to be our 4th and 5th grade males. We're going to start a little program about conflict resolution, social media safety, how to shake a hand, how to tie a tie, how to fold a flag. Just some common core stuff that we're going to add in to the school day with the kids that want to join, and hopefully have them blessed by it. Thank you for your time.
Officer Isaac, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How far do you have to drive? Your
It's a
work?
long commute. I filled up my gas tank August 13th, and I still have over 3/4 of the tank.
He lives right across the street from the school.
Well, again, all three do a great job at all three locations, and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you, guys, and I appreciate it. The next group,
I just wanted to state, I had asked you to bring them because, you know, people, when most of us that are adults were going to school, we didn't have SROs, we didn't have police in the school. That's a new thing in the last 10, 20 years. And I think sometimes people think, well, that's just a police officer at the building. But these gentlemen, and I'm sure it's the same in the county, they have relationships with these kids. It's a good thing for them to learn to trust our law enforcement. And it isn't, when you see a uniform, it doesn't mean a bad thing. It's a good thing.
I would say it takes a very unique individual to be able to be a school SRO.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're very blessed to have these three individuals in our schools because they are exceptional in everything with relationship building, but also with the students as well as the adults.
Sure.
The next group they're very, very proud of. You know, earlier we talked about Ralph Askins getting blue ribbon status. Well, we're very blessed that Fayetteville Middle School now has achieved blue ribbon status. So I have Miss Jean, and if she and her team would come up here. Miss Jean sent me a text earlier. She said, "How long would you like me to talk?" And I said, "Well, about, no more than 3 minutes." And she had 10 minutes prepared, so I cut her down.
That is not true. I said, you didn't tell me that.
Make sure you introduce everybody, please.
Yes. I'm very privileged to be working with these ladies as well as the gentlemen that are at Fayetteville Middle School. We do have several male teachers in our building. They truly put the students above and beyond their needs and seek what each child needs individually. And this is our Blue Ribbon Committee that helped us achieve this goal along with other teachers, as well as our EAs. They gave extra time after school to do clubs. They do extra time before school and just seek out the needs of these kids. And I can say, as far as our SRO, Mr. Owen, we couldn't ask for any more. The students do. He's in lunch every day. They go by, they speak to him, they carry on a conversation. There's definitely a relationship that's developed there that is wonderful. But we have Miss Karen Bobbitt, who is our guidance counselor, that does a fantastic job with our kids. Miss Ashia Hicks, she is 7th grade teacher teaching science. Miss Taylor Adams, that is now at Ralph Askins, but was with us last year in 5th grade. Miss Anna Daniel, she's 6th grade ELA this year. Miss Brittany Baker, my assistant principal that I could not do without. Miss Maggie Warren, 8th grade math, and Miss Lori Frame is our RTI teacher and also our parent coordinator to get the parents and them in the building. So they have truly helped everything that we've implemented this year, and I'm very proud of them and our whole staff at Fayetteville Middle School. I love my job. I love going to school every day because I have fantastic staff to work with. Couldn't do it without them.
And most, if not all, will be getting on a plane pretty soon and flying to Disney down in Orlando, where they will receive their award along with Ralph Askins and their staff. So we're super excited about that.
Hey, Mr. Hawkins, before Tricia leaves, I do want to say congratulate her and tell her how thankful I am. If it wasn't for this lady right here, y'all, my wife would not be a school teacher. So she has done a great job, and she pushed and pushed and pushed from a daycare owner to an aide to a teacher. In her first year, I think she was a level 5, so that meant a lot. But thank you, Tricia, for everything you've done and help her get pushed and kept doing it.
All right, and I do want to make notice that I do have all three administrators here. Ms. Whiteneck's there, she'll give a big wave, and Mr. McCormick right there, our high school principal too. So we have all our administrators here tonight. Last little bit, I want to talk about a few other things. One is our scores came in. They're probably some of the best they've been in a long time, if not ever. Our testing results from the Fayetteville City Schools was identified as a Tennessee Value Added Assessment, which is TVAS, level 5 system in as far as growth. That's the highest you can get. So our school was recognized, our system was recognized that, and so we're super, super excited. It's showing where the students were and where they're going, and I think that that's huge, and that says a lot about those individuals that I just recognized. The other part is we're excited about our child nutrition. If y'all follow us on Facebook, if you're not, you look up our child nutrition. We're doing a lot of farm-to-table situations. We've been able to partner so far with Pile of Rock for hamburger meat and for Buckley Farms with chicken. And so they're able to serve those items in our school cafeterias, which is useful. What I want you to know is that means that our money is then going to local families, and we're keeping it here in Lincoln County. That is the way that you grow things right here. We're just continuing to keep that circle going. Also, all of our students are able to eat free breakfast and free lunch. We're very fortunate that we were blessed with that grant. And the last thing that I have to say is that at our middle school this year, we have a new STEM lab, and excuse me, not at middle school, at Ralph Askins. We've had some things at the middle school, but our 5th grade now has a new STEM lab. So we're very, very blessed to have that. Any questions?
Well, I want to state you got a big matchup this week, football-wise, at Tiger Hill. I understand we're number 1 in 1A. Or was that just a different one poll?
It may be. I'm kind of looking at one game at a time, so I have no idea. But I know that I think we were number 2, and I think I know Moore County's undefeated, and we're undefeated, and we have that matchup, and that's a big region matchup. So we would love for everyone to join us on Tiger Hill Friday, and it should be a good matchup.
Well, I just want to make one other comment that at the middle school game last week, we had homecoming. Some of the biggest cheerleaders for the players at the middle school are some of your top players at the high school, or just some of your players that are on the sidelines during the game, cheering them on. So, you know, it goes from the top down on your leadership as far as encouragement.
It does. If we are just focusing on academics, if we're just focusing on athletics, then we're missing a whole key component. It's developing a whole child. And that means that you have to do the other parts, but you also have to teach leadership and you have to teach responsibility. It's huge. If we want those individuals to come back to Lincoln County, Fayetteville City, and produce like we want them to do in our, we're going to have to develop that. It's on us.
Any other comments? Thank you, sir.
Right,
Thank you, everybody. We'll go to our standing committee reports. We'll go to Fire Department. Is that you tonight, Mr. Owens?
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I am giving the report for Mr. Kimbrough, Chief Kimbrough, who's out of town training this week. On his report, first he wanted me to announce that he was able to receive the Public Safety Entity Grant. There was announced on yesterday, so we did receive that for some equipment, so there will be equipment coming to the City of Fayetteville Fire Department. As far as his numbers, he had 139 calls for services. This would include 107 assists to EMS, 5 motor vehicle accidents with injury, 1 watercraft rescue, and 2 hazardous waste material calls, And that concludes his report.
Any questions on that report? We'll go to the Police Department, Mr. Casillas.
Thank you. For the month of August, we had 103 incidents, 57 arrests, 30 traffic crashes, 48 citations, and activity events, we had 1,143. That's my report.
Any questions for Mr. Casillas?
Thank you, Jesse. I do want to respond to Jesse about something in the board. Thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for Kobe, and he's not here tonight, and I did have permission to mention Kobe's name. And I guess tonight I'm on my soapbox, and I had some letters here I wrote down, but I can't see. Unfortunately, I didn't realize I was getting my eyes dilated, but some of this I retained. Alderman years ago once told me, if you believe in something, stay with it and run with it and go with it. And I do believe this is what I need to be said about this police department. During the process, 2 years ago, I think we lost a chief. Had to sit in for a year and a half for Chief Howell when he was an intern here when we lost our administrator. For 2 years, they first straightened up the fire department. I think they were asked to straighten up the fire department as disarray. They got that under control, if I'm correct. And from there, Kobe Templeton was asked to go, and I think Jesse was as well, asked to go to the rec center and straighten up the rec center prior to Brian Carter sitting in there. and it's straightened out. With Brian on board, it's running well. Then they were asked to stay involved with the police department as commander and step up for assistant chief, for a chief's position, that they no longer needed, because as everybody's aware, I think we're signing a contract for a new chief here today or tomorrow, whenever it's going to be signed. But as a committee member on the board of the fire department and the police department, I was a little disappointed in the hiring process. Yes, we don't have anything to do with the hiring process, but during the fire department process, we were asked to sit and meet with each individual applicant that came in to give us an hour, 45 minutes, like we spoke with each of them. Y'all wanted us some feedback from the alderman. That was not granted in the chief police process. I guess retention was my problem. One of my biggest problem with the hiring of the police chief, and shame on not on me, shame on the city administrator for not giving us an opportunity to grow within. Because if I had somebody in the police department and knowing that you cannot grow within, just like we did with the city fire department, we hired somebody within that had the qualifications to be police chief, to give that opportunity, and he's doing an awesome job. Kobe Templeton was not given that opportunity. After 26 years of service, or 27, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, 6.5 years as a commander, put in an application with the qualifications, and was not given that opportunity, was given the opportunity, but was not offered that position. So I guess what I want everybody to know is we owe Jesse and Kobe and the whole police department gratitude for everything they've done, but they have stepped in and done above and beyond the duties for the fire department, the rec department, and stepping in for a chief's position, and they were not granted to be promoted. So that same, what do they have to look forward to as a new cadet coming out of the police department, Fayetteville Police Department? We're losing people left and right because of pay. We're losing people left and right. They said that if we move somebody up, if Kobe's get this position, we're going to quit. Listen, we can't make everybody happy. If you get a new city administrator, people say they may have quit. I haven't seen anybody quit. But I think it's a very good idea to grow within, and unfortunately with this police department, and that's what I'm disappointed in. None of these guys were given an opportunity to move forward for this position. And I think we owe them an apology, or a reason why we didn't hire Kobe Templeton as chief, because he had the qualifications.
Well, my understanding is, Mr. Owens, you can speak to this anything you want. I looked at the process, and the process was very fair, and everybody had a right to apply for the job. Mr. Temple did apply. He was interviewed. And so, Mr. Owens, do you have any comments?
Well, the only thing I do concur with you, Alderman, I do think that both Jesse and Kobe did an excellent job. I do not care to speak on personnel matters in public, but remember that there was one particular session that you and I did discuss, and we do have a big document that assessed all of the candidates, and that's where the final decision was made. A candidate has not been officially named, but we did do a document. I don't mind sharing that document. I do believe and I do support our police officers. Jesse has done a wonderful job, as well as Kobe, but we did the process. We went through the process. Mr. Templeton did interview, just like 3 other candidates that made it to the finals, and an assessment was made that I didn't have any part in doing. We had other police officers as well. And in addition to everything else, I did come to this particular board. Remember that before I even arrived on job, I had to choose a police chief. I did come to the board and ask their input, gave them 2 weeks in writing to ask for their input. So as far as I can say, we did everything as fair as possible. I'm sorry that the results were not to your particular pleasing, but we did do everything fair.
Well, I guess, who's going to train this new police chief?
The chief should have enough training to come in. And I mean, one of the things I am putting together is I'm putting together a transition force that will be made between the internal and external. I have had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Templeton as well as Jesse about a new police chief. Now, one of the things I am like you, I do support our policemen, I do support Jesse, and I do support Kobe. One of the things they both were here as I transition in. As I said earlier, I did not come in this position choosing. When I chose to come to Fayetteville, I did not know I had to choose a police chief. I did it as fair as I could. I interviewed. I went through the IAP, that's the International Association of Chief of Police. I spent many hours in this night to make this process fair. I did everything possible that I know. I called, everything I could. The last assessment was not made by Kevin Owens.
Which, ultimately.
And I do have a document.
You do, but ultimately you do the hiring.
I do. I
Correct.
do have a document that shows where the assessments were, where the scores were. I didn't wish to discuss this in public, but those documents, none of the scores came from Kevin Owens with that.
Well, those documents are just recommendations, correct?
Correct. But they had a different assessments of scores. They did.
I understand. I wasn't aware in my committee, and I sit on the fire and police board. I was not aware of the meetings that, and I was going by the hiring process that we did, the fire chief. I guess to give somebody an opportunity to grow and keep retention low, what did these guys got to look forward to? A commander and that's it? 26 years, that's it? 30 years of their lives, and if they do put in a police job, they're not going to get it, a chief, because...
I'm not privy to discuss information, but Mr. Templeton and I had a discussion on things that I would support.
Right, but that's what I'm talking about. I had a long discussion with Kobe as well.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned to you on the telephone, and if Kobe's are here, and unfortunately he's not, and many of y'all know Miss Gardner has passed away, and please keep that family in your prayers. He's right now at the funeral home with her, with that family. But saying that, I had a long talk with Mr. Templeton, and he feels like it was a slap in his face, to be quite honest with you. If he was here, and I'm speaking on his behalf because he gave me permission to speak and say how he felt. I know he had a long conversation with you, but what did he have to look forward to after 26 years of service with the city here by putting an application in? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the person that is going to be getting this job or signing this contract here in a day or two, or already signed, I don't know. It's not been brought to my... We've got an email that it's going to be signing shortly. How many years has he been an assistant chief? The same thing as Kobe and Jesse are now, assistant chiefs, a commander. He has not been a chief. These guys here have done the same job for 30 years, for 26 years, and when a commander put in for that position, I was told that people were going to walk out, and I've said that a while ago, and I'm trying to repeat myself, but we were told when the fire department, when we hired Tony, that people were going to walk out. You know, change is good, but change is not good when it doesn't come within. They don't have nothing to look forward to. I mean, you really don't. If I had a son who was a police department right now, I'd just tell him, hey, as high as you're going to go in Fayetteville, it's probably going to be maybe a sergeant, that's it, because they're not going to look within if you meet all the qualifications you're supposed to. And I felt like Kobe Templeton has met every qualification he has done. He's worked above and beyond. He's got 2 departments in good standings. They're running and rolling good. The police department is doing good right now. Who cares if 2 or 3 quit? It happens. But I want to thank them one more time for everything they've done for the city. They have stepped up and showed out every department and made it look good. And I apologize to them that they neither one of them got the position, but Kobe did put in for that position. And I think we owe him an apology and an explanation other than a 2-hour talk, because we did give him a slap in the face. That's what I didn't say.
Mayor, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Owens. I know it was a hard decision to make. You were new coming into this, and I appreciate everything that you have done. You know, I'm sure that it was a hard decision to make, and you gave everybody a fair consideration. But one thing I do want to point out, we've had an alderman here tonight repeatedly naming names, same thing that I got censored for, just for the record.
But excuse me, I had permission, I said before I spoke, from Mr. Templeton to say his name. You did not have permission.
Well, either way, we don't need to be speaking about personnel and certain personnel. I mean, it is explicit in the charter on who hires, and this is the reason.
No, I agree.
It is, but this is the reason why we keep this away from the board, because this is what happens. So anyway, we'll go forward to finance.
Okay. Good evening again. We do have a new finance director, and I am going to do the report as she is new and observing. But for the night, we're reporting for the month of July. We had, for local option sales tax, we had $326.81. And in comparison to the July of 2021, we had $275,322.99. So you can see an increase from year to year in our local option sales tax. For the occupancy tax, in the month of July, we collected $19,866.85. In the previous month, in June of 22, we had $18,688.18. Once again, I did announce that we do have Jamie Owen officially started on August 22nd, and she will be our new finance director. I do want to say, as I said in the work session, that we give a lot of compliments to Jamie. Jamie was able to come in within 8 or 9 days and close our fiscal year. She had help from Pam and Michelle and others, but she came in and worked pretty much sun up to sundown throughout the weekends. So do want to commend Jamie and conclude my August 2022 report.
Any questions on finance? We'll go Recreation Department, Mr. Carter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The mulching at Kids Park has been completed. We have gotten our quotes in for the damage at S.J. King Park, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks we can get the work started on that. Our fall soccer league is running well. We have 35 kids who are running that, who are playing and participating in that, and Miss Calvert is running that. Our senior fishing rodeo is slated for Saturday, October the 23rd of this year. Our Halloween trunk or treat at Stonebridge Park will be on October the 27th. Our Christmas parade will be on December the 3rd, 2022. And the Lincoln County High School ladies softball team will be our grand marshals for that. We have a tentative date for our fireworks, which will be July the 1st, and we will schedule that next month in October. And the Lee Building parking lot, Mr. Owens spoke with Mr. Ellis about that, and we were looking to lease it, but the price on it is going to be kind of steep on it. So what we're trying to do is possibly purchasing some of that property there, and maybe we can get that and use that as a parking lot for the soccer field.
Any questions, Mr. Carter?
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Carter. On this, I mean, with us not having a league, I don't see why we're considering buying property for parking.
It wasn't, we had hoped that the adjoining property would let us use the parking lot just for overflow parking. They came back with, well, if you want to use it, it's a rental fee, which we're not entertaining, so.
Or entertaining purchasing the property either?
Well, I mean, now that may be a different, if you want.
Yeah, it's just it's just an option that we possibly have. We just wanted to check into it. I mean, nothing is official.
Nothing's official.
No.
But we do have a city league.
Yes, well.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you have a citizen that owns a business that has soccer in her programs. That's
Yes,
what you have.
she took it upon herself to do that, absolutely. But we do have a city league.
It's the same as AYSO was
Correct.
before. I mean, it wasn't technically the city's league, but it was just run through AYSO. And this one's just run through Cheer Magic.
Yes.
Right.
And she charges, and Ms. Calvert, hats off to her. She's doing a wonderful job. She has a great business. She has, kids out there playing in a lot of different programs, so I commend her for that. But it's her business, and she's receiving the money, and she's responsible for the referees, the coaches, everything.
AYSO was also a charging.
No different than the baseball leagues in the
Correct.
past.
They all charge.
Yeah, they're all their
All
own
charged.
entity.
Okay. Any other question? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public Works, Mr. Plunkett.
Thank you, Mayor. Last month, we had 264 ton of trash and 132 of brush. North Street is complete, with the exception of a punch list. We done one, just to get the major stuff out of the way, and then we're gonna get all the engineers back and the contractors and do a final punch list on that, and that project will be completed.
Yeah, just make sure they go over all, walk, you know, do a walkthrough with them, make sure they catch all the little things they were supposed to. Because once they get off on something else, it'll be hard to get them back.
We addressed most of those the last time, everything that I was aware of. And they are working on them. We're still short-handed, 5 people. You know anybody needs a job, send them our way. And that's my report, Mayor.
Any questions, Mr. Plunkett?
I just want to ask any information on the pad that's going to be added for the mailboxes by the post office.
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay,
I mean,
you don't have a date to when you might.
We had just enough there this morning to run the routes, is all we got.
Yeah, I understand that,
Extra
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
And we clean up Square on Monday morning, we have to keep them off the route long enough to do that.
But it's on
Friday
the
morning.
agenda whenever you can
Quick
fit
as
it
we
in,
can
I'm
get.
sure.
Little time.
Kind of hard.
Thank you, sir. We'll go to planning codes, Ms. Christy Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. 16 permits were issued in August. The total project valuation was $409,852. The total permit fees were $1,947. 4 demolition permits were issued, and then 2 more has since been issued since your report was generated for your iPad. 1 permit was issued for a remodel, which will bring a house out of condemnation status. So we're happy that that one will be taken care of. The property maintenance report is packed this month. You can review the report on your iPad, but one of the greatest victories we had last month was getting the Walgreens fence removed. That had kind of been an eyesore throughout the summer. We dealt with their corporate office all summer, but Ms. Jill was very persistent and was able to get that job done. We are continuing to see progress on properties that were identified as unsafe structures, and several of these property owners have pulled demo permits, which is in the permit report, and then some are even planning to do remodels on these structures. The Little Rock House behind FPU, that's been an eyesore for quite a while, is in the process of being remodeled. They plan to start that project later this week. We do have 2 court hearings scheduled for September the 29th. At the August Planning Commission, 2 minor plats were approved. Both of these plats were located in the urban growth boundary. They were the Goddard subdivision and the Anthony Howell subdivision. Officer elections will be held at our September Planning Commission meeting, and Mr. Jim Donaldson has been appointed. He will officially begin serving at the September meeting. He replaces Mr. Daniel Eldridge, whose term was up in August. Wanted to do a follow-up on the 8th annual cruise-in. Despite a little rain, I would say that this event was successful. We had approximately 80 cars who registered. Our merchandise sold well. 6 food trucks participated. We had 14 total sponsors from local businesses and several of the industries. 3 businesses donated door prizes, and then we did do a 50-50 cash drawing. Our band was Black Rose Nation. It was their first time to Fayetteville, and they were a hit. We got positive feedback from them. Everybody kind of liked their music, and they actually brought several members from a car club that came and registered and bought merchandise as well. I did want to mention 2 things that stood out to me that day. We had 2 individuals that own local businesses downtown that showed support. Miss Christy Freehoff, whose family owns the Lincoln Theater, she came over and did a live video on Facebook. She used social media to hype up the event all week. We did have a marquee message up there, but she was very supportive. She took a group photo at the end for us, so I wanted to mention her. And then Miss Haley Newcomb, who owns Newcomb's Den, formerly Bartoli's Pizza, she came and bought shirts for all her employees to wear that day. So I thought that was kind of neat. She took a picture, shared our event. So I'm sure that there were others, but I did notice that they own businesses and they were very supportive of our city event, so I wanted to mention it. And then lastly, I wanted to thank all the city departments, Public Works, Fire and Police, and everybody at the city who jumped in to help put on that event. And then FPU for hanging our banner across Main Avenue South, and then Hall Signs who made our sponsorship signs. And we did highlight all of our sponsors on Facebook and made announcements during the day.
Any questions, Ms. Gentry?
Thank you.
Thank you. City Administrator's report, Mr. Owens.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. You do have my report included in your package. The two things that I do want to just sort of update the board on. We did have a very successful Day of Remembrance, which the city did sponsor on Friday, on September 9th. So I do want to thank all of the participants who helped us to put that together. And in addition, since our work session on Thursday, we have been given the date for the bid opening on the Greenway Project 2, Phase 2, and that will be on October 25th.
Any questions, Mr. Owens?
Yeah, I do. Since you brought up Phase 2, so Phase 2, that's the bridge going across the river.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And there'll be an overlook.
Yes, sir.
We started this several years ago, Phase 1, 2, and 3. So Phase 2 is in the process of being bid. Phase 3, the state really owns that. We don't own that. The city don't own that. The state owns that. That's the historical part.
Correct.
Historical side, I guess you'd say. But the state has done a lot of work on Phase 3. They went in because it's historical. They had to go in and do a lot of digs and all of that. So once we get through Phase 2 and get all that completed, what Phase 3 really is a river walk.
Correct.
And it'll be a walkway design. Some of the design work's been done, I believe. And there should be an overlook off of that bridge. And then Phase 3 will be a walk, a river walk type around the river into all of those different places down there. And of course, I'm supposing to get that done, we'd be looking for another state grant.
Yes, we're gonna need some money.
Yep, state grant.
Yes, sir.
But all of that is, a lot of that work has been done on that river walk. We've been working on a river walk for quite a while down there at Camp Blunt. And I guess we'd end over around Walmart somewhere, right, in that area?
Yes, I was thinking hotel. I've seen the plans.
Okay, somewhere in that area, but anyway. Just kind of updating right there that, some of us have been in this Camp Blunt planning for quite a while now, but that's what Phase 3 would consist of once we get to it. And I don't think there's any more phases planned that I know of.
None that I've seen.
That's all I know about right now. So we're still dealing with Phase 3, I guess.
We are
Kind of
trying
back burner,
to get
right?
Phase 2, but
Right.
Phase 3 is still there.
All right, appreciate that.
Any other questions, Mr. Owens? We don't have any unfinished business. We'll go with the new business. Item A, last month, we approved the funding, the contract for William D. Jones, the portion coming off of Washington Street going toward the high school. What we need to do is, there's an additional $152,624.81 that we discussed last month. We just need to state officially that we're going to pull that from general funds. The other monies were encumbered or paid for by the state.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alderman?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Aye, and passed. Item B, we amended this at the beginning of the meeting to take out the bridge replacement and just, I need a motion second to approve going to bid for paving project on Shelbyville Highway.
Mayor, I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I want to clarify, so I think most of us probably already know through the work session, but just to be sure, that is in the bond issue, that project is, that paving part of it was in the bond issue with a certain set of money set aside. Might bid more than that, we might have to pull some more from the bond issue to finish it up, but all of that has already been through the budget process. Just clarify.
Any other discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
That item passed. Item C, we discussed in finance and work session, extending the current employment agreement with City Administrator Mr. Owens. At this moment, since we have an election coming in less than 60 days, I felt like it wasn't proper for this board to discuss or negotiate a contract the future board may not agree with. So you have a letter that's on your iPad that basically just extends the agreement and stipulates a nominal raise that we had put in the offer letter. A motion, a second to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Item passed. Item D, during finance and work session, the Chamber of Commerce came and asked for an additional funding request of $1,650 to help pay for recoup expenses on the Music in the Park series during this summertime period. A motion, a second to approve.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second. Second, Mr. Alder. Any discussion?
Just, the funds will come from,
So, these funds are coming from the tourism
okay?
funds.
Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
No.
Item E, that item passed. Item E, additional funding request for Camp Blunt of $700. This came through finance and work session as well. I believe this money would come from, this comes from tourism, where we actually have money allotted each year for Camp Blunt for their volunteer days, September 30th and October 1st. And a motion, a second, please.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
That item passed. Item F, we move to next month on animal control contract. The remainder of these items on the new business are permits. The first being item G, Lincoln County High School Homecoming Parade Event Permit. This is an annual event. This will be on September 16th, 2022, where they will leave the school, come up here to the square and go back. Any motion, a second, please.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Second, Alderman Allen. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
That item passed. Next is a Walk for Freedom event permit for October 15th, 2002, which I believe is on the square. Courthouse lawn gazebo. Need a motion, a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
To Mr. Alder. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
That item passed. Item I, Senior Fishing Rodeo Event Permit for November 5th, 2022, which will take place at Stonebridge Park. Need a motion, a second, please.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second.
My second.
Second.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Hodges. Almost didn't have a senior fishing rodeo. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Can't do that to the seniors. Item J, Relay for Life event permit, November 5th, 2022. This is an annual event. This year will be at Stonebridge Park. Need a motion, a second.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Alderman Hartman, second.
Second.
Mr. Alden. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Mr. Bryant.
Aye.
Ms. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Small.
Aye.
Mr. Alderman.
Aye.
Ms. Hartman.
Aye.
That item passed. Item K, Bella Snowball Fun Run event permit for November 12, 2022, which will be started at the Hub at First Baptist Church. Need a motion and second.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, Mr. Martinez. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
That item passed. Last item is L. Fayetteville Christmas Parade event, annual for December 3rd, 2022. Need a motion and second.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second, Ms. Alderman Hartman. Any discussion? Pam, call the roll, please.
Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Ms. Small?
Aye.
Mr. Alder?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
That item passed. We'll go to closing comments. Alderman Hartman.
Yes, I would like to remind everyone of the fair next week. I know that's a big time for Lincoln County. A lot of people come to visit our town and spend money here, and we want to give them a warm welcome coming to the fair. Also remind everybody about the Rotary Fish Fry. That is September the 30th. And I want to thank the students from Ralph Askins, the student ambassadors. That's really encouraging for our young kids to get involved. And just wish deepest sympathy to Karen Gardner's family. Have a good day.
Alderman Allen.
I just want to encourage everybody to come out to Tiger Hill Friday night. We've got a big matchup with Moore County at 7 o'clock. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Owens for sticking with us the first 6 months. I appreciate you. I believe you're doing a great job, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Mr. Martinez.
Please, keep the Gardner family in your prayers, and I'd like to thank Mr. Hopkins City School System and all the boards for today, Eddie, your department, and Rec Center, and Jesse, y'all keep doing a good job, and the ladies in the office, thank y'all so much for what y'all do.
Alderman Small.
Okay, I'd just like to thank the middle school and the committee for on their blue ribbon status. It was good to see all the kids here tonight, and they are getting great training. And I'd also like to announce on October the 6th, and it will be announced again, the Chamber and the Women of Lincoln County Committee will be having a portrait unveiling of Miss Claudia May Taylor Donaldson. It will be on the gazebo at 10:30 a.m. This is an annual event that got sidetracked during the pandemic when Miss Selena Moore Holman was honored. Her picture hangs in the courthouse. This picture will hang there for a year, and then after that, they will be moved to the museum.
Mr. Bryant.
I would like to thank all of our employees, our departments, every department. You see them out working on Saturdays, of each department out helping, and they put in extra time, a lot of extra time, departments do. And I appreciate the fact that we've got employees like that. And in every department we have, every single department we have goes above and beyond, and I really appreciate that. Mr. Owens has been with us 6 months, I believe. Almost 6 months, like 2 or 3 days maybe. I appreciate the work you've done. I appreciate you coming into that position, and glad to have you.
Mr. Alder.
Congratulations to our new firemen. City Schools, great job on everything that y'all reported tonight. Proud of y'all on that. I'd like to touch a little bit on what was said earlier on the city administrator. I know Alderman Martinez was passionate about this, but I think he came into this unbiased. Making a decision like that, hiring is never easy, and I don't think we should ever shame him for that's his job, and I think we need to leave that to him.
This past, we would normally had our 9/11 ceremony on 9/11, but it was on Sunday, and that's tough to navigate with church services and everything, so we moved it up to the 9th on Friday. It was a good event, well attended. Thank for all the parties. Mr. Lee Parks, who's a local resident, who served 2 tours and was injured in battle after 9/11, was our speaker, and Alderman Small and Mr. Lance Carter came and sang, and Fayetteville High School Band performed. Also at the same time on that day, we had a group that came up, and Miss Amy Bird from Main Street showed them around. I think, correct me, Alderman Harmon, if I get this wrong, three ladies and a fork. Came through and toured the square and wrote up a very impressive, if you get a chance, I shared it on my Facebook, very impressive report on our businesses and activities and their time. They came up, they spent the night over at one of the Airbnbs here on the square, and then got up and were toured, and very thankful for them, and that's good publicity for the city. Can't remember Mr. Hopkins, no, we did have the Tennessee Education Commissioner came and visited last month, visited Lincoln County High School, and they came over and toured Ralph Askins, and was impressed with both systems and what we do for our children. My last comment is we did lose a former board member, Mr. Walter Sloan, passed away recently, and we want to have our prayers for his family during this time. I'm not sure, I can't remember how many years he served, but he did serve, and it was a key member of our community, so keep those in your prayers. Aside from that, just stay safe, all the activities we have this month, and we'll meet back in October. This meeting's adjourned.